Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Universal Lens.
El lente universal.
Spanish, Cuban. I'm John Emilio. For the first time in the last 3 weeks, I have both back with Henry and Anthony.
We're back.
So you have these three pretty faces to stare at today.
Stop hitting that. You're going to hear that, you know. You're going to hear that and
three,
you'll be like,
three
damn,
voices.
why do they keep on hitting that?
I can remove background noises. Don't worry about it. You don't hear the person screaming in my closet, do you?
Very good. That was good.
So, Henry's back from Florida. Anthony's back from Florida.
Yeah, we made it.
I didn't go to Florida.
Oh, you missed out a good time.
Yeah.
So I went to Greece with you.
You missed out on the evacuation.
I went to Greece, dude. And I went to Florida with Anthony.
There you go.
Yeah, you had a nice month.
Yeah, a little bit too much.
You don't miss out on anything.
Bro, a little bit too much. Like, does this guy work?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
This is a fucking up.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Easy does it, pal.
Yeah.
Family show.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Henry had something he wanted to.
I did? No.
He said something he wanted to speak about. That's how we usually do it. We missed him last week.
We did.
So,
First of all,
yes.
thank you to those beautiful words you guys said about me. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad he took
That
it
was
as a
beautiful.
compliment.
No, it was great, man. It was
Yeah,
good.
of course.
You guys opened the show up, and you know how much you missed me.
Of course.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely. pal.
Nobody
It's
likes
nice.
it. Nobody likes an empty chair.
Well, thank you. No, man, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
But yeah, we
So-
we kick people. People are wondering how the hell do you come up with what you come up with. But yeah, we tend to talk, and then as the show evolved, we tended not to talk, just turn on the mic and go.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's one of the best stuff that we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But today I just told you a little bit what was on my mind. That would have been a great topic. Was what Eckhart Tolle said when we were in Greece, which is one of those things that he, one of the gems that he drops that you just capture and you go, that's good. And he mentioned the phrase, death is an illusion. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's amazing. Death is an illusion.
You
I'm
have
like,
to explain that one to me.
it's hard to wrap your head around it because I'm sitting right there and going, all right, so and you asked me, well, what about it? Like, what about that captures you? And I'll tell you what captures me. So like, if I sit there, I think everybody else is the same. That's one of the mistakes we make is I'm thinking, you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Exactly.
That's how, how relationships fail.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like, if I sit here and think about death, it's one of the most anxiety-provoking things you can do for yourself, right? So like through my mind, I'm thinking, if I think of my death, I'm just going through my mind like, okay, well, if I'm gone, I just want to make sure my kids are okay, my wife is okay. And your whole mind starts to go in anxiety mode, and you start to do this thing, rumination.
The
R word.
The R word.
Not the running man. The ruminating
naughty,
man.
naughty. The naughty R word.
Yeah. So then he mentioned that death is an illusion. I'm like, all right, well, let's take a look at that. Like, how could it be an illusion? And I think so. Here's the point where you interpret it as what you interpret it like, versus there is an official interpretation.
So there's an interpretation to what he was saying. Then anybody could have their interpretation, but there is an interpretation to what he was saying.
There is?
Yes, there is. There is
an official
one. Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you mine.
Sure, absolutely.
Just throwing it out there, and then you'll correct me or guide me as to what it is. But in my mind, it's an illusion because theoretically, the same souls that are here are the same souls that have always been here. Therefore, death is an illusion. Death is only the death of your carcass, of your physical carcass.
Yeah.
Your skeleton.
Absolutely.
Your soul or
consciousness,
the being,
energy,
your light, never extinguished.
No,
it's always been here.
Because what does energy do?
Never dies.
Never dies. It just transfers.
Holy shit! I was thinking the same exact thing too.
And that's a very difficult concept to wrap your head around.
Because the mind can't. Because the mind can't wrap its head around something where it doesn't exist anymore.
I can't get evidence of it. In other words, it's like
the mind's
no mind has ever been onto that other side.
But the mind doesn't go to that other side because your body stays here.
Yeah.
Your mind, your flesh, your blood, the electricity that runs in your body moves on, but your body stays here.
Yeah. Well,
I think most people could agree on that. What Eckhart was saying, death is an illusion, because he's saying it's the death because the ego is an illusion. The ego is a thinking mind. The thinking mind creates your personality, your bias, your reality, your all that, right? So your thinking mind creates what you believe to be reality. Once you let go of that, once you realize that you're not the thinking mind, that you're not the ego, that you're not this thing in your head, it dies and you become free of it. So death is an illusion because you've already died. So remember when I told you that 2 years ago in the restaurant to learn to die before you die?
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what he's talking about. And I got that from him. This isn't like I came up with this. Learn to die before you die. Death is an illusion is the same exact thing. You learn to die because once your ego dies, once you let go of your ego and you allow that identification to fall off, and now you become really pure awareness that sees and feels everything that's happening. Not like that stops, but there's a sense of I'm attached to something beyond it. That's how you know death is an illusion.
I tell you, it's hard.
But you can't. So you can't try to conceptualize that with the mind because the mind doesn't understand how to conceptualize where. Okay, so I'm thinking, but I'm not going to be thinking once I die. It can't understand it. Like the mind can't understand infinity. If I tell you the universe keeps going on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever, your mind goes beginning and end. That's how it works. The mind is not infinite, even though the space in our mind is infinite, like where do our thoughts go? But the mind can't conceptualize. What do you mean, like space? So I just keep going in space forever and ever. It doesn't end. How does it end? Because we know that everything, a wall to a wall, a door to a door, like everything has an end. Even the Earth, you leave the Earth's atmosphere. We left the Earth's atmosphere. Now we're here. Okay, so where does this end? It doesn't. That doesn't make sense to us. So that's why the mind has a very hard time understanding that there's like, okay, so what happens after I die? So what happens after we die is when the human mind starts to create scenarios. So Christian Catholics are going to say, okay, we go to a place called heaven. Pearly gates, we're all up there. That might be the case. I don't know because none of us have been there. But so that's and that gives them, that allows their
Hope.
mind to it allows their mind to go hope.
Some
hope.
ease.
Ease, even ease is another good word to go.
Yeah, but
okay.
that hope is a religious word also.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. No.
Yeah, because if you have hope, you can live.
That's correct. It relieves you of that anxiety. It's meant to relieve you of the anxiety of what comes after death.
Yeah.
Have a little hope.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the mind is now putting its conception. It's creating another realm because it goes. That's where I go.
Right.
Mhm.
But what Eckhart talks about, he goes, you don't even need to go that far and can create, because if you keep creating where the mind goes, you're not understanding what it means to actually die. And people ask him, but what happens after you die? Your energy moves on. You reincarnate into something else, but it's like our energy becomes the next thing. Who knows? Like we don't know what it's going to become. We don't understand the karmas and the ins and outs of the universe and how it works. So there's no way for us to know that. But if you sit here and try to go, okay, I'm going to be okay about death. Okay, good luck with that. The mind's not going to want to understand it. But if you learn to disidentify from the mind and realize that I'm not that thinking mind, all of a sudden you get that space and now you're sitting behind it, watching it. The fear isn't, you could see the mind grappling with this. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you're not in fear about it. Like you're not in fear because you're sitting behind it, just watching it.
So I can do that with everything.
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
And I can even do it with this topic. But if you can slip for a minute,
of course,
it's an easy one to slip.
Oh my God!
And I'll put it this way: so
it's like 50 fish hooks just falling in front of your worms.
Exactly.
That's
So before we turned on the camera, Anthony had said it best. He goes, if the people that died before us can come back and kind of tell us, oh, let me tell you what it is, we would be like, oh, okay, it's just that, or oh, okay, I could do that.
But I don't think it's not meant to be that way.
No, it's the great mystery of life. One of the great mysteries of life.
Although there are thousands, I'm going to bring you into another realm here. Thousands of documented cases where the physical body has died for a period of time, sometimes 30 minutes or longer, depending on what the temperatures were and stuff, where the person claims that they have separated. their energy already moved on, and they describe things, and a lot of it is similar, believe it or not. Or it could go back to what they've been programmed to always know, which is religion, or
could be.
God and heaven and so on. So there are documented cases of this. How do we explain that? And
I don't think you explain it. You just okay.
I think there's a
Yeah,
danger.
it's hard to.
There's a danger. We want to explain it.
But that's a slippery slope you get stuck
Right.
on. That's the hamster wheel. That's the merry-go-round you decide to get on. And I'm going to tell you, good luck. You'll be on it for the rest of your life.
But it is verified that there is that energy that does move on.
Oh no, the energy does move on. Yeah.
So, but it just shows exactly kind of what you're talking about, how the separation of your being,
there absolutely
of your soul, where it actually has happened thousands of times, documented cases where, and then they've come back to that physical body.
Yeah.
Although here, where in our consciousness, their physical body was long dead.
Yeah, it was
You know,
for
isn't
a
that
amount of
crazy?
time that it was dead. That it could be inhabited again. I guess the body at that point.
Yeah, but that separation is proof. That's proof right there.
Yeah, but the tricky slope there is understanding that is one thing, but then taking it to the next level where people saying there's a party up in heaven and we're all hanging out there. I think that's where and it's if that makes people sleep at night, I'm fine. That's great. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not belittling it at all. But if we're going to talk about like the topic about like death as an illusion, so like when Anthony was saying about the energy separating, I couldn't agree with him 100% more. And these people probably did experience whatever that phenomenon was, right? I haven't. I'd rather not until the day comes.
Well,
and
the only other side of that is they just stayed there and they were dead. That's it.
Yeah.
Plenty of those
That's
people.
it. Yeah, exactly. There can only be so many that swing back.
Yeah, but death as an illusion is, yes, it's a topic that a lot of people will have a hard time grappling with.
So if we sat there in the audience and Eckhart is like, human being. He goes, there's a human and there's a being. So that was good. You can.
I love how he just even picked up that.
So you can see
English
that
language. Yeah.
And I'm like, got that. I could even see the separation. I can see that the human and the being. But as a human being, you have this end that you don't know about, and you sit there and you wonder, okay, well, what happens? And we're thinking about it. I bet you when you think about it rationally, quote unquote, rationally, your end is at old age. You're an old man, but we don't know. It could be right now when I leave, boom, and you're done. Right. And that's really the best way to go. You're not thinking about it.
How do you know?
because you haven't.
What if you're laying on the floor just trying to gasp for air? Then it's not a great idea.
No, I think he's saying like, because you're not sitting
I
there.
know what you mean. Though. Sudden and just
mulling. Yeah.
Well, because that's kind of what we do to ourselves. We
I was also playing around with the fact that we don't know what the other side is.
Well, we beat ourselves down too, right? That's part of the mental trick is that, you beat yourself over things that you don't know, but you want to know. And you said to me that one day, why do you need to know? And that's a healthier version of get off the hamster wheel. So how do you get off the hamster wheel? Stop running and step off.
Well,
That's the way
but as human beings, we were meant to be curious. Why did we go to the moon?
there's curiosity.
Why are we trying to go to Mars? Why did we go to space?
Yeah.
There's
Because
curiosity.
discovery and curiosity is what makes us learn.
Yeah.
In reality,
But you know what?
But
That
this is
curiosity could cause torment.
torture.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Not can, it does.
Oh, look at the engineers for the Apollo missions and stuff. These guys were out of their minds,
It can.
Just night and day. That was their life. And that was it.
Not only can, it
Obsessed.
it will cause suffering.
And you know something?
That's the difference between knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
It's two very different things.
And remember who he quoted a lot, and even I heard because you said it, and I thought it already because I've used his quotes on this show. Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein was very enlightened.
Yeah.
One of the greatest minds of our
Yeah.
time, really,
Sure.
of ever.
Was one of the loneliest people too.
And that guy, although you can say he was eccentric, right?
But I bet you if you ex in, he wasn't lonely.
No, meaning how could anybody understand him? He was so
Yeah.
But in his
aware.
eccentricities, there are, again, from quotes, because I wasn't around to know him, but there is just a complete awareness. He knew about energy, not energy, E equals, he knew about human energy, which is amazing. The guy was like, I forget the quote, man, and I've used it here in the show in the past. Son of a bitch. Listening to Bob Proctor, and Bob Proctor quoted Albert Einstein when he says, the relationship between humans is all energy. The rest is physics. The rest is whatever.
Yeah.
And so basically, it's just when somebody that smart, you know, in all these fields that he's smart and everything, is aware. That's amazing. Like that's another level because
He had knowledge and wisdom.
He wasn't that guy who's going to sit there and because he's so smart, because he has the thirst to know, right? I need to know. I'm sure he has that. You don't have a brain like that and not want to know.
Yeah.
Well, he knew enough to be so aware
that you don't need to know.
It's incredible. Like that is a special.
So that's the beauty of it, and that's the understanding that once you get to that point, you can let go of a lot of things in life a lot easier because you don't need this. And I'm not talking about practical stuff, but even if you see yourself getting stuck in something that I have to figure this out. I have to figure this out. And I'm not saying you're trying to work to fix something in your house or build something, where you take your time and you try to use the mind. But I'm talking like now you're stuck on trying to conceptualize these things that are just, you're playing a game of Pong with your mind. So you're going through trying
Whack-a-mole.
Whack-a-mole. That's even better. Game of whack-a-mole with your mind. It's going to be exhausting. And it's having the wisdom to say, I don't need to know. But don't you care? It's not about I don't care. I don't need to know because what happens after death does not affect me while I'm here on my life, while I'm here living, while I'm here on this planet. What I become after we die, whatever our energy goes, whatever that answer isn't going to make it doesn't change what's happening in my practical life today. So how do I want to live this life? Do I want to suffer worrying about? Oh, I need to know what happens after I die. I need to know where I go. Do I go to heaven? Do I go to hell?
Well, can't that be applied to all anxieties, right? Basically, because it's
is
the
all
need
anxieties,
to know.
yeah.
It's the unknown.
Yeah.
But,
well, anxiety,
Yeah.
Anxiety is learning to go against the grain.
It's just that death is the
topic
big
of
one. Yeah,
and the topic of today. Yeah.
of topic today and the big one, the big anxiety.
Sure.
But that's right. It's
compared to going and giving a speech in front of a lot of people, kind of
anxiety. Those anxieties are easier. Believe it or not,
you're going to survive.
They're easier. They're easier. Once you understand a lot of this, those anxieties are much easier to handle because you can just watch it, understand those feelings are there, and just not engage them. Something like this, your mind wants to keep. It's hard to drop it, especially if you're very attached to your mind, which is the ego. If you're very attached to it, it's hard for you to just let that go because your mind's like, this is what I am. What do you mean? Like, I need to know what happens to me after I die. I can't. Yeah. That's where the worry comes in. Well, what happens to my family? What happens to everybody? What happens? Once you're gone, the people around you move on, and eventually they're going to be gone too. Like, remember he said, Eckhart, in that one, he was looking at a video of the 1930s and people bustling around, it was early 1900s. Sure. He goes, all people bustling around New York City. I watch this beautiful video. He goes,
pick a spot, right?
Yeah.
Times Square.
Times Square. He goes, you know what? He goes, they're all dead.
Yeah.
He goes, none of them are here. Like little bubbles. And then he goes, in this room, he goes, at any minute, he goes, you all could start. If he goes, we come back in 20 years, he goes, I'll probably be the first bubble. I'll be gone by then. He goes, we'll just pop. And even though that sounds, oh my God, that's bleak, he was trying to make a point of that's how fickle this life is and how simple it actually is if we allow it to be simple and understand that everything we think is a problem and an issue and everything that we think that has to get done and all our worries and concerns in life are nothing more than your mind saying, this has to be this way. Why? Oh, it's the right thing. And that's okay. I get it. And there's moral and moral things. Yeah, we understand. That's why we have laws and we try to keep a society that's, everybody's not running around with clubs and guns and what was that movie? Purge and killing themselves.
Well, maybe in Philly.
Or Chicago.
We're New York fans. But it's letting go of all of that. Right. But death is a very triggering one for most people.
Yeah.
How many people tell you, you say, oh my God, so I don't want to think about it. Like, don't say the word to me. I didn't say any therapist worth their weight in gold, any spiritual teacher who understands it will tell you it's very unhealthy to walk around not wanting to speak about it or not wanting to hear the word. It's like having little kids that go, we can't take them to the wake. We have to shield them from this. No. Let them understand at a young age that this is part of life. I never shielded my kids from death. Never. And you know what? When they went to a wake, they understood this is part of life. And they start to form an acceptance of it, even though they're not really trying to think about it too much. But they subconsciously, they already have an acceptance of this is what happens in life. The tree grows, the tree dies. The dog, lives, the dog dies. I grow, I pass. Now, when you pass, if they want to have it in their heads, it's a heaven or their energy, or they get reincarnated, whatever that story is, it's in your head. That's fine. We don't know which one is true, but then it comes back to why do you need to know which one it is? Because that's just going to keep you doing what? Whoa, going round and round and round and round. So,
yeah, and Eckhart mentioned himself. He gave his own example. He had colon cancer, I think, about 2 years ago.
When I was in Arizona, he said about it. He had just finished it. Yeah.
He had colon cancer. Imagine. So for anybody, I mean, I'm sure he's got real world issues.
Of course, he says he does.
I'm sure he's not void of
nope, not at all
of issues, but
obviously not.
He definitely is a very chillaxed, you know what I mean, being. At least that's what I interpret from it.
So he is. But that doesn't mean his mind wants to be chillaxed about it. If he's chillaxed about it, to use that, right? His mind could be like, oh my God, Eckhart, he died. What are we going to do? And he goes, for a few minutes, my mind went into, he noticed his mind got very panicky. And he goes, and I let it flow by. He goes, within a short amount of time, I was able to kind of, I don't know, I forgot what he said, but ground himself, or I let it pass, and then I was okay. He goes, I was okay with it.
Yeah, well, he said something that kind of not shocked me, but it hits you, because he said he went through the operation.
Yes,
he came out and he was he was cancer free, and he said, "Well, good." He goes, "But if you weren't, we would have subjected you to some sort of chemo or radiation." And he says, "I wouldn't have done it.
I wouldn't have done it."
I was like, wow.
Because he views life as, and he was an elderly man also, right? He's not in his 30s or 40s. He's in his late 70s at this point.
Why put himself through the suffering?
Yeah, he's like, why? He's like, at that age, and that is what I'm thinking his mentality is. He goes, why do I want to he goes, I'm okay with passing on. And he is. He goes, when my time is up, my time is up.
Yeah.
And whatever happens next, and he'll talk about it. He goes, maybe I will come back again as a spiritual teacher because I have some work that I'm not done with, that my energy still wants to accomplish. He goes, maybe I come back again and I try to do this again. He goes, I don't know. He goes, there's a not knowing of what happens afterwards, but he's okay with finding out what it is, or not finding out what it is, or, the mind. Look, if you try to play that game in your mind constantly, it's fucking exhausting.
Yeah. And I think this pattern of thinking is what we do with most every topic, with the exception that this is the last one.
Yeah.
This is
no more topics after that one. Yeah,
that's it. And yeah, it's kind of.
So when you go to sleep at night, let's say you don't dream, right? I'm a big dreamer, but let's say you don't dream, right?
I don't dream much.
So you go to sleep at night, you close your eyes, you wake up 7 hours past. How fast?
Oh yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Where'd you go for 7 hours?
Yeah. That's a great question.
I've heard spiritual teachers say that. I've heard a lot of people say, "Where did you go?"
I could tell you.
I get it. Your mind went to sleep. Your mind just quieted down.
I can tell you.
Where'd it go?
Well,
John's like,
tell me.
Where? You had this answer all along. You didn't fucking tell me.
I do. Okay. Well, apparently you guys don't know, but I'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in a cocoon, and there's an oxygen
the Matrix.
hose.
Nice.
No,
the Matrix.
Avatar.
That's the Matrix.
Avatar.
Imagine there's somebody controlling us.
I'm a 7 foot. Well, if somebody's controlling me, bro, you're doing a bad job.
They call that the government.
I'm a big blue guy with dreads. That when I
riding a flying dragon.
Some guy's eating a bag of chips in front of a TV right now, controlling you. That's great. That's great.
Where do you go? Where do you go when you go to sleep?
Watch the movie Surrogate with Bruce Willis.
I've heard of that.
It's one of my favorite movies because it deals with that topic. People where your life lasts a lot longer because you're not in the real world. They use surrogate bodies who look like us that they're controlling from a cocoon in the safety of their home in a bathrobe.
Well, it's said
but you're able to be whoever you want to be. You're able to
Well, exactly.
Dude,
what
it's
you
a great movie. I'm telling you, watch
well,
it.
that
That's
concept.
crazy.
Imagine that
The
concept.
Surrogates, Bruce Willis.
But imagine that
Yeah.
concept now. That's how wars will be fought.
Yes. Well, that was
You're
the
a
thing.
surrogate versus their surrogate, so nobody dies. But
Exactly.
the winner,
They're called robots.
winner takes the other person.
But it's not a robot.
Chess game?
It's not really a robot. But think about this: you, as John Emilio, you'd be more willing to do more dangerous things because
that's crazy.
maybe I'll jump out of a plane with a parachute, or whatever it might be.
But you're not really experiencing it.
Oh no! But
Your
see,
body
with this,
thinks it does.
With this, your brain thinks.
Yeah,
it
your
is.
brain thinks
Yes.
We do realize this is a Hollywood movie, right?
What?
Huh?
What, you really? Wait, hold on a second. Do you honestly believe we're that far off?
From transferring
There-
consciousness into robots?
Have you looked at Japan's
We're
AI
close.
robots?
So-
They're wearing headsets and
No,
controlling
but that's
that
different.
movement.
But that's different
That's
than
pretty damn close.
no to transferring your. Okay, and we're getting way off topic, but I like this. For a
I
second.
love it. I love it. I
So,
love it.
but you're talking about transferring consciousness into another, like saying
No,
I'm
I
leaving
wouldn't
this to
say
go there. So
it's not consciousness because they know that they're in that other body.
So then you're so yes, you're
But they're
experiencing through AI, but you're not really experiencing it truly.
of
You're
course, there's a lot of
experiencing
sci-fi
Well, let me ask
involved.
you
And as they
something.
put on a
Yeah.
helmet, I'm sure.
it. Yeah,
If you
yeah,
put on the
yeah,
VR
yeah.
goggles
Oh, let me
and
tell you
you're,
something.
you're
You've
on the
done
side
that?
of a cliff,
So you know it's fake, but there's always a knowing that it's not real.
Yeah, but the people
Even though
knew
the
what-
mind reacts.
the people knew they were
weirdly
using
to it.
surrogate bodies.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, but I'm saying
We're gonna watch that. I'm gonna
that's
force you.
that's.
let me ask you
We're
this.
gonna watch
If
that
in the
together.
surrogate
So wait, what
world,
we-
hot chicks come on to me. Is that cheating?
well,
That's a good question. According to some people, it's not.
We're not gonna go to strip. We're gonna surrogate tonight. Me and the
Oh,
boys, we're gonna surrogate.
Imagine you could do that though. But you could be whatever body you want to be, whatever you want to pay for, and you go out to a club, but nobody knows it's Henry.
Loophole.
We found it, bro.
Loophole.
Let's go. Gear it up.
No.
What?
You know, he's
What's
not.
trip joint? What do you mean?
I'm like Eckhart. It's my time to go. I go.
Eckhart, you want to go surrogating with us?
No, I'm
Come on.
good.
You know, fun in both lives.
I like AI.
In
I
both
think
lives,
AI
you're not fun.
I
How
think
could you not be fun in one of them?
I think AI is fun, and I think AI is great.
Yeah.
That's where I think you lose the humanity of it. Me
Oh, yeah.
personally, from an intellectual point
And
of
there
view,
was a big
you
argument
you
about
lose
that.
the
And you'll
humanity.
see
And
the
once
big-
you lose the humanity,
And you'll see the beginning of the
What are you doing?
movie, it goes through years of newscasts as they're building up this technology and the argument of, is it morally right to do? Because even though Henry's controlling that person, you don't know it's Henry. Is that, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
that was a big thing. The build up to the beginning of the movie.
I think the more you remove the humanity, the worse the experience gets because you're removed from the original, let's say, thing that we're supposed
so
to.
whatever we are here, we're creating another version of it, basically.
Correct. Which is Scott Adams' whole point.
Yeah.
His whole point is if you can create an artificial world, what makes you think you are not
Hold
an
on a
artificial
second.
world?
So because that Avatar, right? Wouldn't know if it's an artificial world. It's like the movie with
Correct.
Ryan Reynolds. I
Mario
forgot.
doesn't know he's in Super Mario.
It's like saying, how do you know the Earth isn't a grain of sand on someone else's beach?
Yeah,
on
correct.
another
Yeah,
planet,
correct.
another universe.
No, you don't.
It's like,
you
that's
don't.
deep, right?
You don't.
correct.
Yeah, you don't know. But that's why I'm not a big fan of all this stuff that's happening. Because how many
So-
times have I said to you, "Isn't it
Well, I guess we're
funny
not
that
watching that movie together.
our technology?" No, I'm all. I'd watch it absolutely. I've always said our technology mimics how we're trying to understand how the mind works. Right now, we have pictures and our stuff, all our information, up in the cloud
That's right.
that we could call upon here. Right? It's not here. It's not there. It's stored somewhere else. But at any moment, I could. We know they're on servers in the Midwest somewhere, but they go up to a satellite. They sit there. They're up in the cloud. They call it. We could at any moment get it here. How our mind is built the same way. Where do our thoughts go? Right? There's not a neuroscientist or neurosurgeon that can open up your mind and go, that's where your thoughts are. No, they're stored right here in this box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what form?
In what form? What do you
Yeah.
mean? How can I recall a sense from 1975 at a baseball game with my uncle? You know, how can something recall that? And where's it being recalled from? So we don't have that. Like scientists can't tell us where your consciousness is. They don't know where it is.
Right.
They say that it's a byproduct of the mind, but yet there is it has yet to ever be documented this is where it comes from. So there's a lot of that we don't understand. And what are we building? We're building a world around us that's built on that same premise. But you were saying something before, and I forgot what it was. You said
it was so important. Hold
that
on.
we're removing the humanity out of everything. Basically, when this thing started, people were now doing this, right? And all day long, you're here. So if I'm here, I'm not here.
No.
Yeah.
I'm here. So the more we're here, the less we're here. And we already removed 50% of humanity.
Yeah.
The remaining is just a matter of small semantics. But, there's already people dating AI apps, apps, meaning their AI robot is giving them the feedback that they would want from a real partner in life, but without the stuff that they don't want. Like, hey, no nagging AI robot. So now you have a wife that listens to you. What are we having for dinner? Oh, literally people have conversations with the AI. So we're there. And that strips the whole...
It strips the humanity out of it.
Well, you strip the whole... Our experience is the human being.
Yes.
The yin, the yang, the being, the doing, the whole, right?
That part.
The horizontal with the vertical.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a coupled unit. If you decouple that unit, you are out in space somewhere, right? That's the trick that's the craziness of this crazy life that we're living, because if you just have the artificial intelligence portion, it's dead. It's void of real feeling. But yet, if you have this feeling, it could be such a double-edged sword, because I'm worried, I'm anxious, OCD, blah 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 blah, recurring thoughts. But that is life, and it is our mission to discover how to navigate it correctly, so that this doesn't completely overpower this, and this doesn't completely overpower. So the yin and the yang balance have to stay in balance.
And it's not a hard balance to obtain. It's hard until you realize it's very simple.
What is it? It's simple how easy it is.
It's people who don't understand this will say, I don't get it. And I go, yes, it could be very difficult to understand until you realize how simple it actually is.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Because and here's how you stop thinking about trying to conceptualize what it actually is. Like we're talking, so speaking about awareness or mindfulness or presence or consciousness, you can't put it into, we put it into words on this show, and other people do, because it's to have a conversation, to try to teach people about something, but you can't put it into words. So when you go, and you said, like we said before, how do we understand death? You can't. And that's why Eckhart says, learning to die before you die means you release yourself of that worry, of that anxiety, much earlier in life. And it's not I'm not afraid to die. No, that's the fucking ego talking. That's the ego going, I'm not afraid to die. That's the ego masking the sheep man, right? Going, I'm going to be a white sheep. I'm a black sheep. I'm not scared to die. True, you might have that egoic, I'm not scared to die. But that's just another, you've put an identity to this, so your mind doesn't have to chew on it or try to figure it out. And if that works, okay, it works. But I could guarantee you, your mind is eating you up in other areas of your life. Right?
Everyone's scared to die. Believe me, I've watched people die slowly, and the toughest of men turn into children when they're dying.
Yeah,
the ego.
Yeah.
So the ego.
They're all scared. Everybody is.
So the ego.
The mind is okay. Yeah.
No,
I don't want to cut you off.
No, those people, it's not them. It's the ego.
That's what I was going to say.
It's the ego that doesn't want to die.
That doesn't want to die. It's the mind.
The ego that doesn't want to die.
So I think the healthy way of viewing this is not, I'm not afraid of death.
No, what I'm saying is that as they're dying, they turn, that ego is gone.
Well, yes, exactly.
Gone.
Because then the ego realizes, what do I do? And it starts panicking.
It's the first thing to go.
Well, it's not that it goes. It actually goes into panic mode.
Well, just
what is it? The panic mode.
Just what is it that would lead you to want to pursue awareness or mindfulness? It's that critical moment where I can't fucking take it anymore. It's that critical moment that you seek. So it's that moment where it's coming, bro. You just fell fucking 7 floors, bro. I hear you.
Yeah, I watched you bounce.
Right? I hear you.
Yep.
Like it's,
I don't mean to laugh at that. I
But-
watched you bounce.
but you know,
Sorry,
it's,
dude.
No, I giggled and people. I'm like, I didn't mean to laugh at that. It's the way he said, "I watched you bounce." I'm thinking of like from Rudolph when
Yeah, they
Bumbles bounce.
They
But it's-
bounce.
it's
People
only
bounce.
that, but it's only that moment that you're ready. It's only that critical moment that you're ready.
Absolutely.
And that's the screwed up part about how our human bodies and human brains work. But surrender.
So yeah, so what he
That's
said
it.
before.
Surrender.
What he said before that he's whatever. If, like you've been like I've seen, unfortunately, a couple people pass in their lives in front of me, and there's 2 ways people pass: in panic or in peace. The people who pass in peace, the ego has burnt off and died. There's a release and almost like a warm feel. It's almost like they're being coddled by something, and they're like
Almost joyful.
almost like they don't need to know,
Us
but
Christians
they're
call
okay
that-
with it. Peace.
Call that God.
Yeah, but
Well,
well, it can be. I know a lot of people go to church on
a lot
Sunday.
of relief
yeah.
though when you feel like you know where you're going, and
Yeah,
that's what the religion gives you, is that hope
Yeah,
that you know where you're going.
that you
That's
know
really
where
what
you
it
go-
comes down to.
It does until a question pops up to that person's mind. But is it real?
Right.
Because it will. So some people might not
What
have that
about all
answer.
the
Yeah.
question?
And then I'm
What
going to
about-
hit you
some
with
people- some
that's
people-
why you
some-
have faith. You're
some
not,
people-
you know.
Yeah,
that's
but
what-
even the most faithful people
he's sucking
might
his teeth
question
at me.
something. Huh?
You're sucking your teeth at me. Go ahead.
Sucking my teeth. Oh, I don't know what the fuck that
Thank
means.
you.
You guys
Thank
are
you,
like
pal.
bitches.
Oh, no, I just got somebody to back me up.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, you did. You gave a little. Yeah.
No, I think.
No, I had gum in my mouth.
I think
Just
he
stick it
did
out.
a tut.
Oh. Oh, well, then it's cool.
Oh, I forgot what I was saying. Man.
He fucking diverted you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
I don't know
I
what I'm
totally
saying.
took you off course.
Whatever. Anyway,
I totally forgot myself.
I'll tell you where you were going. If you're a Catholic,
That was it.
if you're a devout Catholic, and
or
you're
any
saying,
or any religion,
or any religion.
Muslim who has 49 wives and people, whatever.
right, whatever is that's, and I hate to say it like
No,
this,
it's a
but
story.
the story
But it is a story,
that gave
can
you
say it.
comfort. That story gave you comfort,
which is absolutely fine.
but like Eckhart really did a nice job of drawing it out for you and saying, you know, I can sit here, and by the way, he talks about Jesus not positively, but ultimately. So he talks about Jesus in incredible
when
ways.
As a
actually,
spiritual teacher, as
but
a
when
very
I
spiritual
bring
teacher.
up the topic, I want you to know it's the melding of the two that gets me, not what the difference is. So for
No,
me,
we
it's
don't.
like, yeah, if you're mindful and let's say you are passing, you feel at peace because you've already separated yourself from that death.
Yeah,
And I get that, and on the other side of religion, where you have Catholicism or Catholics who believe on the other side there's hope and you have faith through your life,
So
that the other side is that peaceful,
So
bliss.
both roads accomplish the
Well, heaven.
same or similar thing. And what Eckhart was saying is that if a story helps you get there,
Mhm.
good. But
don't take the word story the wrong
right,
way. But, yeah,
right, is that right?
Well, yeah, because that
if
could be
a s-
misconstrued because
because
stories
it-
are usually made up. And
But
if a
but we don't know what's fact or fiction. We don't know. It's your faith tells you. So just like your faith tells you God is real, the Muslims' faith tells them that Muhammad is real,
Right.
and that they're going to get this.
I know what you're saying.
But and we can't say that we can't say.
archaeology says different,
But
and
we can't.
that's usually
But archaeology,
that's
we
the
know
only
Jesus.
proof we have.
But
on
we know
Earth.
Jesus existed. We're not. No,
Yeah.
This isn't about Jesus existing.
Oh.
No, it's not about. But you don't know ultimately whose heaven and hell is real or wrong. Those are all stories that we believe and we were told. Every Bible, and there's been different Bibles from different gods, have different stories. And the stories, we say that word, and we end up on this topic somehow a lot. It's
Because
not,
I'm the only
they're-
one that
no,
I
they're
know,
intertwined.
but
They're intertwined.
They are intertwined,
they
and I
are
usually will bring it
intertwined.
up. So
and it's
For me, I bring it up.
but it's a delicate line where you understand that mindfulness is not about a story. Awareness is not about it's not about a Bible or a religion. I'm gonna use the word religion. I hate to use the word story because it sounds derogatory, and we're not trying to be derogatory. It's not about a religion, right? So if the religious person says, I hope, I pray, that's great, and I believe that I'm going to go to heaven, and that gives you solace, and you're at peace when you die, that's phenomenal. Awareness and mindfulness give you the same thing, but without all the attachments that come along with it, without all the need to feel like I have to believe in that person, I have to believe in this this religion and what this religion has told me or what's happened or what we found and what it means. I know, and I don't need, and I've said this probably 1,000 times. I know, and I don't need that. And it's not casting that off the table, casting it aside. It's saying, and that's where Eckhart kind of goes with it. He's like, you could drop the labels and get there like that. And you don't need to say, okay, well, this is where I'm going to go, and this is what the person looks like, and this is what it's going to be like there. I can close my eyes and go, I'm connected with
the
it
man
already.
with the beard.
I'm here now with it already. And I think that's the only difference. So yes, they are. And when it comes to death, they probably do, like any religion, whatever faith you have, does give you some sort of solace, closure to that. But it's a different kind of closure, maybe. Like it's still a closure where the mind is attached to something, where this closure is there's no attachment to anything.
He made a good point, and he said, okay, so I am a good Catholic and I did everything right according to my God, and I'm going to end up
there.
Like he points up there,
and he's just
having a good time. Yeah. But if I'm not a good person, you know where I end up also
down there.
And so he's like, it's almost like forget that for a moment. The person, Jesus Christ, was a mindful person. Like if you ever want to,
no question about it.
Great spiritual.
So like if you ever want to follow the lead of a person, that's it. That's the guy. Was he perfect? No, he wasn't. That's why they give you examples.
He's a human. Yeah.
They give you examples of how he wasn't perfect. But you ever want to, if you ever lead your life the way Jesus led his life, you're golden. You're very good.
You're embodying what it means to be a human being, a moral human being.
That I think is the lesson. This is the way humans should act. The rest is the egos and all the different things.
I agree, man. 100%. I couldn't even add to that. You're dead on, I think.
Yeah. So, Eckhart does that. He goes, look, I'm going to talk about up there. And every once in a while, he'll get cute and be like, and the cherubs and you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. But if I go down there, hot fire, hell.
Yeah.
It's possible none of that exists. None of that. But there's a code that the man kind of outlined for us.
So if you believe Henry or you believe Anthony or I believe John go somewhere, that's the trip. That's the mistake. That's where the hang up happens. That's where because we'll say, oh, I'm going to be, no, you're not, because once this dies, so does everything that comes with it. Your energy, your soul goes on. So it's not I go. You don't go. What you were and you always have been goes. You stay here where you were born, where you you prospered, and where you're going to perish. It's just the way, that's how it works. On this physical realm is where we stay. So John's not going anywhere when he passes away. John's going to stay here, get cremated, and go on a shelf somewhere probably.
His carcass goes. John's carcass
stays here.
The carcass stays here?
My body stays here.
Even though it's transformed into ashes. Yes, that's what he means.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my carcass stays
the physical.
Here. But what I truly am, what I was before I even became John.
The energy that's driving.
The energy, the ability where I could see myself think and watch those thoughts, but not watch them and have another voice telling me, yeah, that's a good thought, John, because that's the mind. Watch them with no judgment at all. Watch them and say, I'm watching myself freak out. I notice it, and I'm not adding anything to it. But I'm not feeding it either. Or I'm noticing this thought about death and how it scares me, but I'm not looking for an answer to it. I'm going to stay here where I am and just watch it. But when you're doing that, you connect to something behind it that just feels peaceful.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, once the mind comes in and tries to, oh, that's what it is. I found it. But that feeling that you get, that's it. That's a knowing. Remember, he said knowing, and I love that he used that word. It's a knowing that it's there. That's it. Period. Stop. End discussion. It's a knowing. That's it. Once you try to take that knowing and put a face to it, that's the mind. That you're getting caught in the trap again of needing to know, of asking more questions, of having something, having to have an end, a means to an end, and that keeps you in a. That's where people go, yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm an aware person. Okay. How aware are you? Are you aware that you kind of realize you're being a dick, or are you aware that you stop yourself from, or you see it, understand that those are there, and you don't feed into being a dick? Or do you realize you're being a dick? Yeah, I'm being a dick. I'm aware I'm a dick. Okay, that's great. But what, you're not actually doing anything to change it, are you? So no, you're not. You're noticing that you are, but you're not. Your awareness is so dim that you're not really taking any measures to change it. Let's just say. So, like, you want to say, how do you die? How do you learn to die before you die? It's really giving into that understanding and that surrendering to saying, yes, I'm not this. It's hard for me to say that even in my mind. How can I say I'm not this? I'm here right now. I go to the gym. I try to work out. I try to take care of my body. Yeah, that's all great. Practical world. Awesome. But even in my darkest moment, there's something behind it. There's just, I could watch it happening. When I've gone through some of the most anxious things in my life, whether it's being nervous about something or being in an environment or a situation that I feel like I'm very threatened. When I was a kid, I was like young, locked in, full panic mode. Okay, it's survival of the fittest now. Like, how do we? Oh my God, what do we? And I wasn't in any major danger, but my mind was putting me like in this situation where, oh my God, it's gonna be the end of the world. The same thing happens to me now. The anxieties are there. It's not like, oh, well, no, it's cool, we're calm. But now I sit back and I watch it. And I watch the anxiety, I watch the thoughts, and I just sit with them. And I listen. I say, I know I can't control anything right now. So it's an uncontrollable situation, right? Something where I can't do anything. Unlike I'm in a fight or I'm protecting myself from somebody. There's nothing I can do right now. Somebody's pissing me off. Something's happening around me that I cannot control. The world's about to blow up because everybody's, attached to their minds. Everybody's going crazy in political worlds and there's wars everywhere. I can't control any of that. My mind wants to start thinking, oh my God, what do we do? Oh my God, how am I going to live? Where do I go? I got to build full bomb shelters. I got to make sure that we're surviving for 50 years. Okay, take your breath. I can't control any of that. Why do I want to? I could watch it and I could still, in the back, there's something that's just calm. That calmness, that knowing is what we actually are. And if you're able to feel that, I'm like, okay, then you understand it truly, and there's be very few things that you're going to get triggered on in life. Now, that is a tricky one. Don't get me wrong. I said 50 fish hooks, right? And we just turn the wrong way, and you're going to
literally right here,
right here. So it's one of those things. You just got to sit there and you watch them because you can't stop them. You can't stop the hooks from dropping in. You can't stop the anxiety. You can't stop the thought of death. You can't stop any of that from happening. Worry about my family. Worry about my kids. It happens to me. Like, my mind will be like, practically, there's things you can do, but you do them in a very calm, a more controlled, from a presence awareness kind of thing way. You're not overreacting. You're not, running with your hair on fire. That's the difference. But I don't know. But what do I know?
No. No, I think when you have the ultimate, when you reach that place where the person knows he's about to die, there's that surrender. And only then did that person experience the stillness of
that they could have for many years.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
he says that a lot, actually.
Right. That's the misfortune. And I think that's our fortune. So all of us, all three of us,
I think it's a missed
here,
opportunity for a lot of people. I really do.
Yeah.
All of
100%.
us, the three of us, could have been swimming in the swimming pool that is the vomit of anxiety and torture, self-torture, all that.
We already did.
Right.
I just don't want to do it anymore.
Correct. But it's because we were there that we sought for something on the other side.
Yes. And I think what we're doing with this is trying to pass on that knowledge.
And if you haven't felt that, like if you've never felt that dire anxiety, stress, that OCD, that if you never felt that, you're just not going to seek something for help. You're going to miss this whole boat. You're going to still live in the world.
That's why they say suffering is unfortunately, but unfortunately, and fortunately, the biggest proponent to why people become aware, mindful, understand what this all means is because they've gone through something in their life, whether it's something that's happened to them or anxiety.
And notice the word you're using, gone through, meaning we got through to the other side. There's a big difference. And I just want to make sure that's clear to people that, we didn't let that anxiety freeze us up to the point where, we couldn't do things. I think we learned to push through them.
I'm going to sharpen that thought.
Go ahead.
There is no other side.
Oh, bingo, Yahtzee.
There is no other side.
Yeah.
We attach it because that's the way we understand it. But the truth is, there is no other side. The truth is, we learned skills.
There's nothing to get through.
We learned.
But we have to use words. But unfortunately,
no, we learned skills. Like for example,
else it'd be a show of this.
Prior to this skill, there is I got to get through this. But once you learn this skill, you realize there is no other side. It's just life as it happens, and how we think of it.
My point was we didn't know it at that time.
Oh my God! No,
absolutely.
At that time,
so for us, it was getting.
At that time,
I'm speaking in two different time frames.
What he just did to you is what I used to do to him for about 55 episodes. He would say something, I'd be like, "That's good."
So,
but it's not getting through. You're not pushing through anything because there's nothing to push or get through.
I was once a grasshopper.
I was once a grasshopper.
Now I'm a praying mantis. and
what am I? I'm Shifu.
You're still crawling on the ground.
No, but the reason I say it because it's true. He's 100% right. So I definitely thought like that. But until somebody said, "Wait a minute," because you make it sound like you're on the other side of it, and you're not.
Because the language could be a trap.
But my point was, it was a different time frame before you were aware.
Yes.
For you, it was pushing through to the other side of things, and then you realize as you learn. You're right. It becomes a tool that you constantly use. There is no other side. There is no having to push through anything because everything is the same level.
And I'm happy that you have said it before, but I heard Eckhart say it.
I taught him everything.
I was gonna say you probably said it first.
There are times. There are times where that awareness can dim, but not lost. It's not lost, and then you re-strengthen it.
That's the human. That's the human part of the being.
Getting back on the bike.
Yeah. And I say that because it's happened to me. Where
it happened to me,
I felt it dim, and I go, "Whoa!"
Yeah, that happened with his hearing.
Yes.
Same thing happened with him.
Yeah, backdoor.
Oh, yeah.
That tinnitus backdoor.
It got frustrating to the point where he was like, "Oh my God, is this actually working?" And then you start to question, and it's a rabbit hole for him. And one day he just straightened it out and got it.
Yeah, and we all have.
Well, yes, it was. I had to actually apply it. So it was learning how to apply what I had learned to an actual physical issue, not just a mental one. So
that's the real answer. I was simplifying it.
Avoiding your thoughts is like I hate not avoiding your thoughts. Let me rephrase that. Seeing your thoughts and being able to not engage them was one thing, but now I had a consistent noise that I could not control. And even if I didn't want to watch it and I redirected my attention, it was still there. The thoughts would kind of ebb and flow out. But what ended up happening was the same as a byproduct of me. Because when I was experiencing, and I didn't have, when I experienced OCD, and I still probably do at times, I felt like those thoughts were there 24/7. And I would keep refocusing my attention, anchoring in something behind the thoughts, watching the thoughts. And eventually a byproduct of doing that became I stopped paying attention to the thoughts. They never went away. They were still there. I just didn't notice them. I did the same thing with the tinnitus then. And I mean, I did a little bit of research. I read on some therapists like who actually had it. So I did a little bit of research on it. And I was like, and he had this, it took him 6 years to realize it. He goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "I could have applied this same tool that I've been preaching to people for 6 years to this." He goes, "Within 2 weeks, I was at 0%. Not that I didn't hear it. There was no struggle anymore. It was there and I was here and I'm okay. I don't care if it's there." The same thing happened with the tinnitus was, yes, it's still there. And then all of a sudden I forget about it for days. It never goes away. Then out of nowhere, I hear it again and then it goes away. But I'm not trying to make it come or go. I don't care where it does. Right. I just keep my focus where it is. That becomes a byproduct of what I was doing. You're worried about death? The more you focus on that death, the more you focus on what happens. Where do I go? Do I get wings? Am I going to get horns? What am I going to do? Am I going to get 24 wives or 49 wives? The more you focus on that, the more that's where your attention's going to be.
Right.
Okay, that's great. What happens when you die? I don't know. But I know right now I'm here at my kids' graduation. So this is where I want to be. Right. Or I'm having dinner with my friends. This is where I want to be. Or I'm smoking a cigar outside. This is where I want to be. or I'm dealing with something. This is where I want to be. That answer to that question does me no good because it's an unanswerable question. The mind doesn't understand that. Needs an answer. How do you make the tinnitus stop? Go ahead. Go see 400 doctors. Go get 34 hearing aids. You're going to frustrate yourself to hell. Maybe it helps a little bit, or you could just allow it to be. You have chronic pain. You could take all the medication in the world. You could do everything. I'm sorry, this is it. You have a physical condition. Not that the pain goes away, but you learn to live your life a different way. And death, pain, anxiety, depression, real life, work, wife, kids, money, politics, war, blow up, meteorite coming, it doesn't make a difference what the topic is. Understanding what this is makes that all palatable because you realize it's things are going to happen that are out of our control and out of our realm. And do I want to choose to suffer or surrender in a positive way? For me, surrender and acceptance are the utmost forms of courage because they actually show you saying, yes, I accept that this is happening, but I choose to live my life. I surrender to this, but I choose to live my life. I don't need to beat you. I don't need to fight this. I don't need to, for what? I want to live my life my way by my values. And that's kind of,
it's
how it all works together.
Giving that thing the attention.
Yeah.
Because the more attention you give it, the more you amplify it. Like you said to me, we were sitting outside and you said, have the airplanes stop flying above us? No. Have the birds stop singing? No. Have the crickets stop chirping? No. How come we don't hear them?
We don't hear them. But all of a sudden, you hear everything again because you refocus.
I'd like to maybe for maybe the next show have a topic because I'm kind of curious about this.
Yeah.
If you are planning on visiting these emotions that you get to choose whether or not you want to visit in any given situation, right? Is it possible that your choice of choosing an emotion to visit or having the awareness of knowing those emotions are there, can it numb you at all to emotions?
What do you mean choose? So
you said in any given situation.
He's going down the apathy route.
Okay.
Remember the apathy route? He's going down the apathy route. No?
What's that? I don't know.
Oh, it's when you had
the seminar. I wasn't there.
Well,
he said this. He said this to a lady.
Remember the young girl who said, I am so zen. I am so meditated. I am so that I don't care about anything.
That's my point. Can that happen?
No, that's not what she said. Well, I don't think it was that. It wasn't exactly. No, she was doing anything and nothing was. She was.
No, she's. Am I apathetic?
She asked, "Am I apathetic?"
He says, "Well, he kind of like, well, what are you doing? Like, what are you? She. I think she was seeking also enlightenment." Right?
And that's where he and which was everybody's like, as long as you keep asking the question, then yes, you're still stuck.
So can you? No, but that's another trap. In other words, I think it's another ego trap.
So the ego says, "Am I stopped? Did I stop caring about stuff?"
So the ego is a motherfucker, and he knows. I think the ego understands that it's not going to fully die. You could put it in its box, but it's not going to. No,
you'll burn it off to the point where it's a fraction of what it was, but it's always there. And it could, by the way, it could re-energize quickly if you're not careful.
Yeah. So basically, you'll reframe things for yourself, and you'll think of things differently to help you in your time of need or anxiety, but never to the point that you are so zen that you don't even care about anything. Like
it's you never stop caring. So I know what he's saying. He's asking like, so if you get to that point, does it become where you lose your emotions, where you're not have? And no, absolutely. If you think that happens, that's your thinking mind telling you we don't care about anything anymore. We just don't care about anything anymore, and that's not true. You've asked me this question, and I've told you I have not lost attachment to any emotions: anxiety, sadness, joy, whatever. Name them: anger, frustration.
But you haven't been doing it as long. Can it happen to people maybe who practice this for a long time, like Eckhart, so to speak?
I've been doing. I mean, this
is like I said. Like you said, you're so zen where you're just like, this is that. Everything is. It is what it is. Nothing really pulls. Where maybe something might warrant an emotion and you just don't want to visit it. You know what I mean? Can that happen?
No. So I think. I mean, look.
I think there are levels.
I think no, but even the most
Just like ego. I mean, ego can be a good thing in certain situations, not always bad. I mean, your ego is kind of what in the business world or the real estate world wants you to push a little further.
So that's a trap, and I'll tell you why. The ego. I could be very determined in business, but not be egoic about it.
But what about in a competitive place?
I could be competitive, but not need to be the best. I'll do my best.
Competitiveness means you want to be the best.
No, it means I want to be my best. I don't have to be your best, because if I want to be, if you speak to anybody who's like athletes, I'm not beating you. I'm competitive to do my best today, and that should be enough. And if it's not enough, tomorrow I'll come back.
You're right, but in reality, he needs to be better than another guy to command more pay.
Yeah, but
I get that's what they all do.
No, I understand that, but that's on a practical level. But if you're talking about like egoically, so the ego, by the way, isn't just I need to be better.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I need to be better. I need to be worse.
It's okay to be.
The ego's the thinking mind. But when somebody I won't sit here and say I'm the best spiritual teacher in the world, or I need to be the best spiritual teacher in the world, or I need to be the best podcaster in the world, or I want to be the best podcaster in the world. I want to do what I value and I care about, and I'll give it all my effort. And that's where I leave it. I'm not even competing with myself, honestly, because I know a lot of athletes who tell you that they're competing with themselves. Their amount of stress and suffering is
so it's your
crazy.
So ego, you think there's no good circumstance for it?
No, it's the thing. It's needed to live in the practical world, but as from a psychological or spiritual point of view. No, it only causes suffering, because eventually that attachment to that ego, I need to be the best podcaster. I am. Now I'm not. Fuck. Oh, I got to get better. Okay, I am again. Now I'm not. Fuck. You get stuck on a hamster wheel of oh my God, here we go again. Yeah. Here we go again. So what do you want to do? I want to spread this word. I want to talk to people.
Would it be nice as if when you hit the top, you just go, wow, this is nice. I'm comfortable here. And just be happy with that. Yeah, and maybe you don't need to use ego anymore, but your ego kind of helps you get
but what happens if everything you have gets taken away from you?
It'd be horrible. Even if you didn't have an ego, I think that'd be horrible.
Yeah, it's so. But so the ego is an attachment to that. So when your question is, do you not have emotions? No, everybody has emotions. From Buddha to Jesus to Eckhart, they all have emotions.
But you notice the longer they are in those positions,
they still have them. They just don't react to them.
Okay, the less they'll either react to them, though. Does that make you?
No. I know where you're going. The answer is no.
No, wait, I don't know. Do you know where I'm going?
Yeah. Does that make you less human, less?
Okay, so you knew where I was going.
Yeah, no. The answer is no. It makes you more human.
I see, but that's what makes us. That connects us to people. When you start to cry, the other person starts to cry. You start to get
different.
Those kind of things.
But you don't lose. So Eckhart will shed a tear. He's not a robot.
No, but you could see, and I've watched some, not for as long as you have, but some of his videos. There's not a lot of emotion I don't see out of him, or
no, but that's
look at Buddha. You didn't see that wasn't the kind of guy.
He was a very happy guy. Buddha was actually very joyful once he discovered enlightenment.
Well, independent of every individual's personality,
and cadence. Yeah. So
independent of it, I think what everybody wants to accomplish is the identification of the ego. I see it.
That's probably the most important part.
So that's it.
Right?
So basically, you're going to be up here now. You're not going to be over here. You're going to be up here, and you're going to see, there's my temper coming. Chill. Do I want to
I agree with you.
Chill.
For me, that has been the biggest enlightenment for me, is recognizing it.
You can see your temper coming.
And you see it, and you see your ego too, and you're like, my ego is pulling me into a place I don't want to be. Just for me, the enlightenment was seeing it. That's the big thing. Is identifying. Well, believe it or not,
that is it.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here, because that's really it. Is being able to identify it and go, that's what's making me a dick, or whatever it might be.
Well,
that ego. No,
don't call yourself a dick, but
you know what I mean. That it's pulling you down the wrong alley.
It's pulling
you down in the wrong direction.
It's not reacting to the emotion; it's responding to the emotion. So I can have an emotion of sadness and say, I'm going to cry because this is sad, and I feel like I want to shed a tear. No, I have to respond. So reaction would be, I don't even realize I'm doing it. So reaction is, fuck you. That's a response is, hey, screw you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're not pissed?
All right. Well, that's for another day. I was bringing up a bunch of things and questions.
But what you just said, I'm going to tell you, I just got back from Greece. the spiritual retreat we went on. So I have peak Zen. I come back to my car being
Peak Zen. Oh yeah.
ransacked.
Oh no, really?
So I came back. Let's say I'm picking up my car on a Monday. My car was ransacked on a Wednesday.
Oh,
So I get there
At
and
the
I
dealer,
go,
yeah,
I go to
at
my
the dealer.
car.
Oh, at the dealer?
Yeah, I go to my car. I say, what the hell? So I go, excuse me. Long story short, me fast forward. They didn't know what to tell me because nobody had told me. Nobody told my wife. It was, the cops didn't talk to you. The cops didn't talk. What are you talking about? My car's upside down inside. It's been violated. Like, what the hell's going on? I had a moment. I watched it all happen from up here. And I watched how the young manager, first of all, the sales lady, the service, like,
You saw yourself coming back later at night with a can of gasoline and a match?
Anthony, I saw myself getting green. Like I was becoming green. My,
right.
my shorts exploded.
You
my
won't
hair
like me when
became
I'm
pink.
angry. Yeah.
And I could see it happening.
Yeah.
And I even said, I go, I know what I'm about to say. And
You're
I said
trying
it.
me.
Yeah, and I
You're
said it. I was
trying
like,
me.
I'll just go fuck myself.
I know what you're trying to do. You're trying me.
And but believe it or not, it lasted 2 hours. It lasted 2 hours. The whole
Yeah,
2
but
hours.
you can't expect that not to happen, right? Like you can't
Correct.
expect that feeling not to be there.
Let me tell you something. What I'm trying to say is
Yeah.
with this stupid story is I saw it all go down. I even sort of chose my path. I have to admit, I chose to act like that. But I also chose to.
Sometimes, I mean,
You may feel that
you
you'd
speak up.
get a reaction from that at least.
I also chose
But you're doing it consciously.
To
That's
let
the
it-
important thing.
just go. Because otherwise I would have come. I would have told him the story, and I would have been here 3 hours telling him, you don't know, and detail.
Yes, and I would have sat here like this. I understand.
And then I go home, and my wife's gonna.
He's not a good guy to complain to.
My wife will reverberate back
Who,
to
me?
me.
Yeah.
Be like,
No.
can't believe these motherfuckers. Well, you should go there. You should go talk to Kevin.
You know the outlets. You know the outlets that have the covers on them, so you can't plug into them. When people try to complain to me and they try to come and plug into me because they want to bitch and moan, I got the covers and like they're like, oh, you can't find the outlet. It's like a hand always pushing it away.
They're like, John, you're a eunuch. How come I got no hole to plug into?
You're right, but that's
Because
what makes you human too.
No, because he could complain to me, but
That's what I mean.
I'm not going to charge him up. I'll be like, bro, you
Agreed.
good for you. You should have told me. I'll be like, oh, okay, all right. So now what?
But fringe benefit.
He's right, but sometimes
in
you
a
want a guy
calm
that goes,
voice.
okay, I'll get the baseball bat. Come on.
Yeah, but I know.
Where's that John? Where'd that guy go?
No.
Okay, I'm teasing everyone. I'm teasing.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
No, because
that's not
I'll
me.
be that guy. Be like, let's go.
No. I mean, listen.
What'd they do to your car, bro?
It depends. I mean, listen. If somebody's going to harm you, is a different story.
Yeah.
But
No.
look. We'll end it on this. I've never in my life. I've never resolved anything or had a good resolution where it was on the anger. I don't say violent because I've never really been violent, but the anger, pissed off. Oh my God! side. Even when people have tried to stick it to me, patience, awareness, consciousness, staying centered, watching those angry thoughts go, sit them with longer, and here comes a helpful thought. I did it at work. I've done it with my business when people tried to screw me years ago. Right? I mean, I'm not even to get to it because it's a longer story, but I applied that, and months later, things worked out. Right? So it wasn't about me getting myself. They're there. Those emotions, those feelings, they're all there, but that never resolved anything for me. Again, not in a physical. I'm not talking about somebody trying to physically hurt you or somebody you have to defend yourself. That's absolutely a different story. I'm talking about somebody's doing something that's not physically hurting you, but it's pissing you off to no end, or they ransacked you. I had my car stolen when I was in fucking Greece. When I was on vacation. I hung up the phone. My wife, what happened? I go, they stole my truck. She goes, are you kidding me? I go, yeah. I go, where are the kids? She goes, outside. I'm like, all right, let's go outside by the pool. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. I go, what can I do about it? I go, am I happy? Of course not. Am I going to let it ruin my day? No. I go, those thoughts could be there, but they're there. Bitching and moaning is not going to bring my truck back. It's not going to make anything happen. I'll call the cops are going to call me in a little while. I said, I'll have the conversation with my insurance company. We'll go on. I go, for now, let's go outside. And that was it. And it wasn't like, oh, I don't give a fuck. It was, what does that solve? So when people want to complain, and I let them talk, but I look at them and I go, yes. And then they stop talking because they realize, oh, do you want me to piss you off more?
Yeah.
Make you feel like you're justified in screaming? No, man.
WWJD.
WWJD.
What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? I'm not Jesus.
No, but
I can't grow a beard,
You
man.
can try to act like him.
Yes, amen.
And ended on that. Good one.
All right, guys. We good?
Yeah.
Because I think everybody checked out. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. If you're still there, if you're there, we love you. And send me your email address. You'll get a prize.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
Oh.
The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.